So I hope you can see the share screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on, put it here. Okay, today we're on the consequence of the agricultural revolution, the social consequence mainly. Why do agricultural society typically can require more social discipline and allow less individual freedom than hunter-gatherers communities? Why do social hierarchies and elites tend to develop in settled agricultural communities? What are the advantages of developing elites and class divisions? What are the disadvantages? What is the relationship between civilization and war? Wow, good questions, but I'm not answering any of them. This is for discussion. Okay, so let's look at the fundamental reason why complexity develops. I mean, now, in terms of hunter-gatherers, we can easily imagine that a group of maybe family members or close family members wandering to the woods, to the area, and then set up a camp, and then they start gathering foods, and some of them might go out as a team to hunt and then come back to what they can carry is their possession, nothing else. They cannot possess anything more than they can carry. And supposedly they may have a few animals, okay? So altogether, the amount of material they can carry is typically small, maybe a little bit more than a human can carry because you got other animal to carry it for you. That's it. So in that society, you cannot be very large. If it is very large, that means the whole society possessions will be a lot, and therefore moving around is difficult. And then gathering food from a small area, walking distance, so that's about the area you can gather food. Okay, so it's not, you cannot survive very large group of people. Maybe even in today, after all this development, herding communities is still about 50, 100 people maximum, even in today. So you can imagine at those times, these hunter-gatherers groups are pretty small, pretty small. Now, such a small community, almost everybody knows everybody. Everybody interacts with everybody. So the social structure will be very simple. Just this little group. Maybe there's an elder in the group who knows a bit more direct about where to go, and that's it. And maybe in hunting, a group of men, somebody may be a better tracker to track animals, other people, so they will cooperate almost on an equal level. So in a hunter society, we would expect the group to be very equal.
Albert,
obviously, some might have a little bit more power over the other, but that is very limited only to the group. If
Albert, can you hear me?
Power difference among them.
Albert,
but once you settle down to become a large community, then there are issues. So let's see.
Albert, can you hear me?
For settled, you have to store food, right? Because your harvest is typically seasonal. So after your harvest, you got a lot of grains, whatever, stored there. And then you will have to survive of that for quite a time before the next harvest come in. So you need to store that. And that becomes so-called wealth. Wealth. Okay, once you are well, you have to worry about people coming in stealing your wealth. Then you need to start having somebody as guards. Initially, maybe not, but after 1 or 2 times when your grains have been stolen, then you will start thinking, hey, how can I prevent that? So somebody who is strong probably becomes the guide of the area. Now, the other
Albert,
thing
can
is
you hear me?
for agricultural society to settle down, water is very important. So they may start thinking, hey, instead of bringing water, why don't we start dig a trench to lead the water in? Then that need organizations. You need a lot of people helping together to work out that one. So eventually the society will be much more complex because of these demands on structuring them. So, but what can be stored can also be stolen. Hence, we should expect to find wherever these surpluses occur, large investment of labor in building walls and other measures to protect the vulnerable wealth. Another way is build a wall, but building wall is again labor intensive. You need to organize, you need to move the material, you need some know-how. So somebody might come out to lead. So there is one issue. I use a gray color background, meaning this is a branch out of the previous. So I'm showing you one location, which is Jericho, the red dot there. Right. Use the mic, please.
Now that you got me on this thing, I could ask you something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Albert, can you hear?
Can you hear me?
You have mute yourself. Turn it on.
Yeah, can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you. Turn on. You have to be mute.
I don't think you can hear any of us.
Yeah. Can you hear?
I can hear you.
I know why. Oh, I need another equipment next time because the input is routed to the receiver and their input is routed to somewhere else. Let me see how can I reroute the Zoom's input. Sorry guys, let me just try to do it. Sound preferences, input. Okay, I have to use this. And then, no. Hey, doesn't see my, hey, come on. It doesn't work. Useless. Come on. Sorry, the wireless doesn't work. Let me set it back to the okay. Can you try, Elway, can you try talking?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. But
oh, right, good.
Can you hear me?
Good.
Anthony, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can now.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh?
Sorry, the equipment here doesn't work, so I need to figure out. Maybe we have to revert back to the last time. Okay. Yes, question. No use.
You can't. So the question is, so you're gone from hunter-gatherer to agricultural civilization, more complex and so on. But you have referred to Harari's book. I've read that book as well.
Yeah.
And Harari actually says that by going from hunter-gatherers to irrigation civilization, people were worse off.
Yes, people are worse off. Yes, exactly. We will talk about that. People are actually worse off. But let's look at the change at the moment. Okay, so the change, one change we can see is that people have to start working together. Now, working together not necessarily becomes better, as Harari and also I think it's Jared Diamond in his book also mentioned that. Actually, Jared Diamond said the agricultural revolution is the worst decision humans have ever made.
Ah.
Yeah, that's my Jared Diamond. So let's move on. But I will show you the example why building such a large structure is very expensive in terms of manpower. So move back to here.
Can we go back, Albert?
Yeah,
You go back to the last slide.
go back to the last slide. Yep.
You've got the Jericho as Tel es Sultan,
Yep.
which translate Tel is archaeological site.
Yep.
Sultan is leader. It's the archaeological site of the leader.
Yeah. So that is something from the name, which I don't know until Albert tell me. Okay, so it is around 9,000 BCE. So adding 2,000 years to it is 11,000 years ago. So it's almost at the time of agricultural revolution. Agriculture also occurred around that time. So probably this is built during the agricultural revolution. During that time, people are trying to settle down. Then there are two questions. Why yes, they need to store the grains, but we will assume at that time the village will be quite small. We are not talking about 1,000 people village. We at most talking about 200, 300 people as a village. So the amount of food they need to store is not that huge. You know what I mean? But the size there is huge comparatively. That means it is a lot of different villages actually gather there. So for what purpose? Now that is a question haven't got any answer. The standard answer is for religious purpose. But maybe true, maybe not. Who knows?
When you're talking about the desert, also the availability of water would be a main reason. It's either there's a well or
some water source.
Yes.
Now, I would also suspect this, even if there's a well, the well will be a natural well.
Oh yes, absolutely.
At that time, I don't think human has the ability to dig wells yet, maybe. So I would suspect there will be some natural local source of water somewhere there, and
Absolutely.
human able to get it.
Yeah.
Although in a desert, there should be some areas which will have water source, and people will choose that water source as one of the key criteria to settle down, because no water, no life. So that would be very important. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And also it is during a dry period as well, a temporary, not a very long dry period. So water is really one issue. Now these are the size, some of the size. So let's get a scale of the size. Here, you notice the little mound there in the middle is okay. I have a picture with comparative size there. There's the human in the corner.
Oh yeah.
And that is the mound, which is this is that round mound, and this is a theory of how they built this mound. So initially there will be a opening there to go in, but eventually the opening was collapsed and then changed. This is huge amount of work. So that means we need organization. We need organization. Needing organization means somebody have to give order. I think natural leaders come out in that situation. Some people will naturally lead. And then once you lead in one project, he is probably not contributing in the laboring. He will be directing, instructing how to do, etc., etc. And these people, once they learn to do that, they will continue to become a leader A leader, once established, will establish in a neighborhood.
Albert, I'm getting a bit confused here. Now, basically, you're going this 10,000 years ago. Is this 10,000 years ago?
11,000 years ago.
So then you're saying this, what we understand the Sumerian culture, 7,000. This is
Much older.
much older.
Older, yes. Even older than that. It's just, this is, I think, is the beginning of the so-called civilization. When people changes from hunter-gatherers into settle down to become farmers, then the social structure also need to change because of that change of lifestyle. So one of the change is the social structure becomes much more complex. We have classes coming out now. We have people who have a lot of wealth in terms of food. And there will be some people who may be unlucky or they don't get the best piece of land and their food production might be lower than the others. And these people will have to depend on some people's help in terms of food, maybe. And then that would generate a class difference. Now, another thing is we need protection from being stolen, either from animal or from other groups. So those who is powerful can fight, probably will become a leader in the group. So we can see different job specializations. Jobs started to specialize. Some people is good in this thing, and they will concentrate to do more of this thing. Some is less good in this thing, but it's better in that way, that thing. They would concentrate. So we will start to see a specialization of skills. Today, we see a very fine division of labor. Our skill set is very small and focused, right? And I think at the beginning, that is the beginning of this specialization process. People started to specialize in doing something they are better, whereas leaving other. And now, when they were hunter-gatherer, I think everybody has contributed to finding food. Not a chance not doing that. But when you settle down, when your food production is able to support more people than hunter-gatherers, then you got more free time. But only for those who doesn't really have to work on the field. People have done an estimation. Okay, so in short, government is coming out, or organization, okay? We need organization to organize people. Organizing in this way means an enormous expansion of what human beings could accomplish together. Yeah, we join forces, we do a lot of things more. Now, one of the major economy idea is that, for example, we are in a desert island, okay? The only food we can is from fishing, okay? Each of us can fish one fish a day, sufficient for me, for everyone, okay? But I come up with the idea to make a fish nets, okay? So I sacrifice one day with no food and build a fishing net. Then next day I can catch two. And every day onwards I can catch two. The rest of you notice that and say, hey, can I have a net as well? I can say, well, good. Give me one fish, I give you one net. So since I have two fish, I can use one of them today and use the other one next day and build one for you, right? And then when you got it, that day you two fish, you give me one and you still equal, but next day you're better off. So this is the basic idea of economy. By specializing in skills, then the advantages can spread by trading.
Albert, right at the beginning, one of the questions you asked was about war, and war being associated with settlements.
Yep.
Now, if somebody is able to gather more food than anybody else, they will challenge the leadership on the basis of
More
their
resources.
skills, and you've got a war.
Yeah. And the other thing is, when we started cooking food, and the smell spread everywhere, it will naturally attract those who are hungry, and they will come in and try to. But there are different methods handling that. You share the food, no problem. But you don't want to share. You have limited amount of food, then you will fight them off, and that's another conflict.
Yeah.
This whole thing about specialization is a tool because okay, one guy could have
Yeah.
Albert, is there a microphone for those in the room?
The system doesn't work, so I have to bring back last time's microphone. But I will repeat the question.
Oh, yeah.
That's why in India we have caste.
Yeah.
So that means they've got a fisherman.
Yep.
They expect the son and the grandson to be fisherman as well. But the grandson may be having a different talent.
Yeah.
So
This is one of
a curse.
Yeah, it becomes a curse. Yes. Now the question is, for example, some people might be good at one thing, so that skill may inherit generation down. But somewhere in the chain, somebody might be actually good at something else, but you are limited to that class, and therefore you can't. I think absolutely. So civilization is absolutely a two-sided sword.
So we are better off as hunter-gatherers.
Maybe. We don't know. At the moment, unfortunately, we can't turn back. We cannot turn back. There's another interesting is about the lifestyle of hunter-gatherers. They are pretty good lifestyle. We will see that later on when we talk about the negative of being settled down. So let's still look at how that evolved. The emergence of elite now is now clear. Somebody will need, right? And that will become the elite class. And this elite class, obviously, because of their knowledge or because of different things, they will have a better status. So in terms of food, they probably get the best cut of the meat. They will probably get the best. Now, in hunter-gatherers, I think the hunters probably will get the best cut, but they will spread to the whole group, almost the same. But in this society, when you can store your food, that is a different matter. I can store all the best cut and then leave you with the other one. But in the hunter-gatherers, you can't, because you have to share it. Otherwise, it will be useless. So once you have storing well, the whole dynamic change. And an example. Now, in original, they say you have the knowledge of writing, but unfortunately, at that time, I will argue writing's still not yet developed. So I put a cross across it. So,
I agree.
now, at that time, no writing yet, but there will be people who is very good in telling stories, convincing people. The priest, for example, will be very good to describe what had happened, why it happened, using perhaps God as an explanation, and this becomes the ruling class. Now, different places will have different ruling class. Some will be military leaders who is very good in fighting and becomes the leaders of the group. Some will depend on other skills to become the leader of the group. There will be different types of king or priestly rulers and so forth. As population in the region grew and the competition for resources becomes increasingly severe, military crisis became almost a permanent condition of the area. So those who is better at fighting can now getting better and better places to grow food, getting its the influence area larger and larger. And eventually somebody will say, this is my land, this is my kingdom. Everybody within this kingdom have to give something for me in return of their right to stay in this kingdom, right? This is almost in every culture until today. This idea of kingdom empire only finished about 30 years, 300 years ago, 500 years ago. At least in China, we only finished it in 1911,
Yeah.
when the Qing dynasty finished. But I suppose in Europe, then this idea of empire finished after about the French Revolution and the Renaissance. Then people started to liberate themselves. No.
What is called the European Enlightenment.
Okay.
And of course, in America, it happened with the writing of the Constitution.
Yep.
And yeah.
Yeah, different places at different time of
Sure.
getting out of this. Somebody say, I'm the owner of this land. Everybody here belongs to me.
Probably one of the last places in the world to get rid of the system was Japan.
I don't know. Is that right?
Well, yeah, well, it really wasn't until the end of the Second World War.
Yeah, they still have an emperor at the moment, but they are some.
But the emperor hasn't had the same power
as the
since the end of the Second World War.
Yeah, probably. Anybody want to dis?
Different cultures, they have their elites.
Yeah.
The lower classes.
Yeah.
So in China, maybe you're going to talk about it in your China thing, but so Mao has he eliminated the elite sort of thing. So are you telling me today in China there are no elites? It may be based on, is there elites based on something else? Not on birth or something else?
Yeah.
Human nature is to have elites and
yeah, human nature should have elites, and then a government with elites who work for the people is better than a government with elites who doesn't work for the people. And it will be even worse if the government is led by an idiot.
But who are the elites in China now?
Who is okay? If you're interested, because it would need quite a bit of explanation to explain to you what is the political system in China. So unless you know the political system, you can't pinpoint who is the leader. China is led by a group of elites.
But who are these? On what basis are they elites?
They lead by 20 to 30 years of experience. Okay, what's the time now? Let me see whether I can answer your question. Okay, we have half hour. Do you mind answer the question? Okay. The Chinese election system is the people got to elect their local representative. For example, a village, really, really small representative. For example, in UVA here, we have about 1,500 members. Then probably in this group in UVA, there will be about 10 representatives elected by us. Okay. Now, the 10 person elected by us will also join another larger group, other UVA's elected members. And these elected members will vote for victorious representation. Now, we don't have the right to vote now. It's our representative voting for the next level up. Okay, and all the states, victorious representative, Queensland, okay, and then they will elect the national representatives, and the national representatives will elect for the international. You know, the system go up like that. We do not have the right to vote for the national representative. We only vote for our representative, which votes for the next system up, and then which vote for the next system up, so forth. China's system is like this. The local people vote for their local representative. A small village, no matter how small, maybe 50 people, maybe 100 people, still have representatives. Now, this representative group together and then vote for the next level up, maybe county. And then all these counties will group together and vote for the next level up. Now, the terms of office is 5 years. So if I vote in a representative in the local village, that village, because he just voted in, he haven't got any voting rights yet. So by the end of her term or his term, he got the voting rights for the next level, and he can stand for candidate for the next level as well. So in this case, this village representative has been working together for 5 years. They now know each other, and therefore among them, they vote for the next level up. So this is a selection by comparison with your peers. Your peers will like to vote somebody for whatever reason. There may be selfish reason, okay? But the selfish reason is very low in the low levels. Then the next level up, and then next level up. Chinese Communist Party has almost 100 million members, 98 million members. Okay, round it down, say 100 million CCP members. China has 1.4 billion people. That means 1 out of 14 people is a CCP member. And this CCP member is everywhere. So the village representative most likely is a CCP member. Because if you want to work for the Chinese society, it's better to join CCP. That's the ruling party. If you don't have, doesn't matter, you can still be a representative in your village. But as you want to progress upward, then all those CCP members tend to vote for their members rather than you. So you got less chance to promote. So people join CCP, join the Chinese Communist Party, if they want to serve. And typically, these are very vocal people. They have a passion. Otherwise, they won't join CCP. So 90 million CCP members all over China, they voted one, stay up, stay up, stay up, stay up. So from the village to the next level, 5 years. From this level to the next level, 5 years. This level to the next level, 5 years. This level to the next level, 5 years. By the time you get to the top, it's already 20, 30 years. If you can promote every year, every term, somebody will stuck there and, well, the ability is here. You can't manage any larger area, so you will stuck in your level, right? But if you are capable, you will be moving up, but it still takes you 20, 30 years to come to the top. Okay, at the top, the highest power in China is the National Congress, the People's National Congress, which just finished about a week ago. They meet once a year. That National Congress have this year 2,984 members, about 3,000 people. So from 90 million up to the top is 9,000. These are elites. You can imagine they are elites. And they have worked through all this level until they rise at the top. But the National Congress only meets once a year for about 2 weeks. So they will form a standing committee. The standing committee has about 300 people. And the standing committee will be working hard for everything for China. including all these different levels. And then these 300 people will vote for the political bureau, which is 7 persons. And then Xi Jinping is the chairman of that bureau, of that 7 persons. So that is a large pyramid. Xi Jinping took 25 years to come to the top. So that is Chinese. Answer your question?
Yeah, but I do not elites. You said elite initially in the agriculture civilization, they are people who have a store and they have a food.
Yeah.
Now we have come to a system where
Judged by other abilities now,
other abilities.
right? As a society changes, the ability, the demand for leadership also change, right? So the different leaderships is now needed to run such a large human society. Our human society is very large at the moment. Like for example, China, 1.4 billion people. India, 1.4, almost. Yeah, almost. Right? These are huge amount of people. So the leadership is very different. Now, people will say, okay, Chinese is authoritarian. Yes or no, because after all, the decision at the top will propagate downwards very fast. But information from the bottom is also propagated upward very fast. And then the information will be concentrated every step upwards, because the local problems, if the next level can't solve, then you will jump up to the next level. For this level, if they can solve it, they try to solve it as best as they can. Otherwise, when the upper level presses on you, then you have no chance of getting into the upper level. And remember, every 5 years, you only got 1 chance. Very keen competition. But anyway, that's the Chinese system. Whether it's good or not, up to you. I'm not advocating we want to change to that. They just explain to you what is the Chinese current system. Whether they will change, we don't know. And Xi Jinping is also have changed, put it that way, the terms, the number of terms their top leader has is now removed. There's no limitation of how many terms Xi Jinping can remain the leader. Before him, there were 2 other leaders who has defined it as 10 years, 2 terms, 5 years, 10 years, okay? And before these 2 is Deng Xiaoping. Deng Xiaoping officially have never been the leader of China, but he is the de facto leader after Mao Zedong died. And Mao has unlimited terms. And then from Mao to Deng Xiaoping, yeah, you want to come in, you can join anytime. Okay. I don't mind.
China today?
No.
China today will be in what?
15 minutes?
20 minutes. Okay. So it depends on what I'm talking. Forget it. Okay. Elites. We're talking elites, but we're still on elites, right? So historically, the elites changes, right? At one, for example, Roman Empire, the elites is probably those who can fight. But today, I don't think those who can actually go into the battleground will lead. I don't think Joe Biden can go into the battleground today. So the leadership requirement changes, okay? But in those times, the emperor have to go out and fight. And we also have urbanized now. Obviously, when you have surplus and you will see somebody else have another kind of surplus you desire, what's the best way? Trade. So we need to gather together and exchange different kinds of wealth, different kinds of food or desirables. So then it comes with a artist depiction of, so you will have a lot of people gathering together. There will be a private space, and then there will be a public space, and the public space is everybody where they trade. Of course, this is not at that time. I don't think the city then will look like that. But the idea is that we will have different desirables. Maybe I can only grow wheat here, but you can grow potato. Hey, why don't I exchange some with you? So we need to gather at some place to do it. And the gathering place becomes the city. And then some people may find I'm a good trader. I buy from you and then sell it to you. And in the middle, I earn something. And then there will be specialization coming out as emergence. Right? So human society from here onward becomes more and more complex, much more complex. Okay. Some mode of life, we have public space, private space, and we have the idea of property now, and we have also the idea of privacy. Now, this is my space. I don't know. I don't want you to know what is in my space, my privacy. When hunter-gatherers, you don't dream of privacy. Everybody knows everybody, and you sleep together at the same tent. But once you have cities, then privacy, property, wealth, all these ideas start coming up now. Okay. Yeah, that's the Jared Diamond or Harari. This is the worst mistake in the history of the human race.
So that I find that quite intriguing, if not bizarre. If this had not happened, where would we be? Would we still be hunter-gatherers? Is that what he's trying to say?
Yeah, Australia is an example. Australia is an example, isn't it? Yeah, and then 7 million people, how that possible? Not possible. So the complexity do increase our number of population. Population increase because of this complexity. Otherwise, the world cannot carry this amount of people.
When you talk about Australia, you're talking about before 1788, are you?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
At that time, still hunter-gatherers. They never form farming. The farming is bring in by the settlers.
Doesn't Harari say that even the human lifespan reduced?
Yes, yes.
But they still had fairly sophisticated society.
Yes, very sophisticated, but not as sophisticated as today's society. Now, first of all, work. When hunter-gatherers, you work 20 hours per week. And today, we are 24 per day. We work much harder, right? And our life expectancy also drops from 26 to 19 because of malnutrition. When you were hunter-gathering, you eat all kinds of food. But once you're a farmer, you only eat what you can plant. And many of them are just carbonates. What's that? Is that carbohydrate? Thank you. You can usually it's just carbohydrate, not much nutrition. So size-wise, they also drop from 5'10" to 5'6", and women from 5'5" to 5'5" to 5'1". Drop in size, shorter lifespan, worse in terms of health. Now, our health improves only when modern medicine appears. In China, we say if you are 60 years old, you are very old. You survived what we call 甲子, 60 years. But today, I think everybody here, maybe except with our younger ones, is more than 60 years old. Is that right? Yeah, older than 60. So everyone here is older than 60. In China, this group doesn't appear just 300 years ago. People have all died. So modern medicine actually improve our lifespan a lot, and our children is higher than we are. Is that right?
But
Yeah.
when you're talking about life expectancy, this is a general thing which includes children who die at a few months old.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and a great percentage of the population would have died as children.
Yes. A significant proportion of children will not survive the first 5 years.
Absolutely, yes.
Today, survival is almost 90-something, 100%, almost, with
And
exception.
And that was the case up until the 20th century.
Yes.
Both my parents had had sisters who died before they were 5 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. My father died at 91. My grandfather died at 60. So just one generation between my father and my grandfather is 30 years.
So when people died at 60, there was no time for Alzheimer's and
Yes, exactly. No time for all that kind of thing. We have all.
they died happy.
Exactly. So plus or minus, okay. Being complex society allows us to have a larger population, okay. But the life, is that better or worse? And then parasites, epidemics, like pandemics, COVID. If COVID happened 300 years ago, I think half the population would be wiped out. But today we are limited to, at the moment, it's about 2,600,000 something people die out of COVID at the moment. Bad. I'm not saying it's good, but if you imagine that even in 1918, when that Spanish flu,
Influence, yeah.
yeah, I think it's 3 million. 20 million. Wow. So although COVID is a severe case, but still much better. Medicine. Okay. Hunter-gatherer leaf. Okay, so that's for today. Yeah. Managing it. The death rate is much higher at the beginning, and then you lower for us as well. Victoria, Australia, we don't have a death case for months now, although we have occasional COVID cases. But at the beginning, remember, Australia have 900 plus deaths.
I'm sorry, you said medicine, but it's mostly hygiene and other things.
Yeah, everything comes in, and the knowledge of social distancing, face masks, and so forth. So we see that in America, they don't wear face masks, they don't obey. So their death rate is much higher, and their infection rate is much higher. So, okay, finish for this one. We'll see you in China today. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Albert.
Yeah,
Thank you, Albert.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert. Very interesting.
Thank you. Thank you.